What is up YouTube? How goes it? So in today's video, we're covering a pretty special product, and that product is none other than Microsoft's Surface Laptop Go. That's right, we got it. So we're gonna quickly discuss why this laptop is creating a lot of buzz on the internet, who it's intended for, and who it competes with. We're gonna do a quick unboxing, first impression, and a power review of this laptop. So without further ado, if you enjoy the content on my channel, please consider subscribing. It really does help me grow and keeps me motivated to provide more for you guys. Let's get started. Before I go into the unboxing itself, I really quickly want to run through the specifications I have on this configuration of the Surface Laptop Go. So we have the 10th gen Core i5 processor, we have 8 GB of DDR4 RAM, we also have 128 GB SSD, we have the latest Wi-Fi and Bluetooth standard, and of course we have a 12-inch display. Lastly, it's worth noting that this color configuration is called Sandstone. You can also get this in 2 other color configurations. So starting off with the unboxing, as you can see that the laptop comes in a pretty straightforward box with the laptop displayed on the front side, pretty minimal. Going to the back side, you can see you have some general configuration details as well as the specifications of the laptop and other details that you might find useful. It's a pretty straightforward box and I like the premium packaging. As you can see, Microsoft has opted to include a convenient pull tab to remove the plastic packaging around the box. I really like that. Once you remove the packaging, we're gonna go ahead and actually open the box, and as soon as you open the box, here it is, the Surface Laptop Go in the Sandstone color. It honestly looks really nice, but we'll come back to the laptop in just a second. Beyond the Surface Laptop Go, we have 2 boxes. Starting off with the smaller box, once you open the box, as you can see inside, you have the Surface Laptop Go Quick Start Guide along with the user manual, best practices, and compliance information. It's good to know that this information is there, but let's be honest, you're never gonna read it, so we're just gonna put that back. Moving on to the second box, you can see that there are a few items inside. So once you open it, you'll see right away there's a 39-watt charging brick. I always like how portable Microsoft's charger bricks are, and they also feel premium. You also have the proprietary charging port. Additionally, you have the wall outlet cable. Nothing fancy here, it just plugs into the wall outlet and it connects to the charging brick on the other side. Finally, we're just gonna go ahead and unwrap the laptop itself, and wow, what a gorgeous looking laptop. In case you're wondering, this thing is super light, weighing just 2.45 pounds. It's paperweight. Now that we know exactly what comes inside the box, let's do a quick design analysis of the laptop itself. Starting off with the top side, you can see that it has a full metal covering. You also have the Microsoft Surface logo right in between, which gives that nice premium look. It's also reflective, so you can kind of see yourself in there. You have a little mirror, there you go. Also, you'll probably notice that this is the Sandstone variant, like I mentioned earlier. It kind of has a rose gold tint to it from certain angles, but from other angles it has a more bronze type of look to it. Overall, I really do like this color and I think it gives a premium vibe. As you make your way down towards the side and bottom of the laptop, it is hard TPU material, so that's where the metal look ends, and it has a more pinkish hue in contrast to the more bronze look on the top of the laptop. It doesn't look bad by any means, and also the hard TPU feels nice and premium as well, but it's worth noting that Microsoft did have to make some budget cuts obviously to keep this laptop within a certain price range. In terms of I/O ports, you have rather limited options, but this is on par with what you'd get with other super small ultrabooks like this. On one side, you have a USB 3.0 port, a USB-C port, and a headphone jack. On the other side, you have the proprietary charging port by Microsoft. I really wish Microsoft switched to a USB-C port type charging solution. However, it's not the biggest inconvenience in the world. On the rear side of the laptop, you can actually see there is an air intake vent, so obviously this laptop does have a fan and there is cooling going on. As soon as you open this laptop, you get that nice premium vibe. The palm rest and keyboard enclosing is made of metal, and that sandstone color keeps its consistency just like the top of the laptop. The trackpad itself is made of plastic, however the clicks are super smooth, they feel subtle and soft, so I really do enjoy the trackpad despite the choice of material. Moving on to the keyboard, I have to say I'm a huge fan of the Surface series laptop keyboards. They're generally very nice and premium, and the keyboard here is no exception to that rule. The keystroke is nice and deep, you have good tactile tactile feedback, but at the same time the keyboard feels soft. With that being said, I also like the fact that you have the sandstone coloring included on the keys themselves. It really keeps the whole theme of the laptop consistent. For the love of technology, I can't get my mind around the fact that Microsoft did not include backlighting on this keyboard. Considering this is a premium device with a really nice keyboard, I just don't know why it's not there. Also, it's worth noting there are no dedicated media keys, but that's totally acceptable given the size of this laptop. All the function keys are integrated into the traditional function keys on the laptop. You also have a dedicated power button, but no fingerprint scanner. Beyond the keyboard itself, you can see that there is a cooling vent right near the hinge. Microsoft has put a good bit of thought into this, so all the hot air comes right out, and it's a pretty large cooling vent, relatively speaking, for this laptop. Moving past that, I want to give Microsoft a shout out for including a really high quality hinge on this device. Often Ultrabooks don't have great hinges and they're prone to breaking over time. I think in this case it will last for the years to come. As we move on to the display, I really like how Microsoft opted to go with a 3:2 aspect ratio and thin bezels. This really gives the display a appearance of a much larger display than it actually is, considering this is only a 12-inch laptop. Where I do have a bone to pick with Microsoft is the display quality itself. The Surface Laptop Go ships with a resolution of 1536 by 1024. That roughly equates to 148 pixels per inch. Now that's not the lowest resolution I've seen on an Ultrabook, but it's definitely not sharp, and you can see that when you're watching media content, it just looks slightly pixelated, and I really think that Microsoft could have done a better job considering this is once again a premium device. In terms of color accuracy, you get 98% sRGB, so it's a pretty color accurate screen. Also, you have a peak brightness of 384 nits, which is more than ample for using this laptop in an outdoor setting or in a bright indoor setting. Microsoft has opted to include a 720p webcam, which is on par with most other laptops. It's a pretty mediocre looking webcam. However, it gets the job done for Skype meetings or just general video calls. For you sound fanatics out there, yes, I did a quick test to see how the quality on the Surface Laptop Go is, and I have to say the audio quality is pretty decent. It's worth noting that there are no dedicated speaker grills. In fact, the audio comes from directly beneath the keyboard. However, the laptop had pretty loud sounding speakers. Have a listen for yourself. Moving on to performance and usability. Now, if you know how I do my reviews, you know I don't spend a lot of time on benchmark. There's plenty of those on the internet already. Instead, I opt to go and show more day-to-day performance and how this laptop fares. I have to say, for the most part, if you're watching Netflix or just doing some web browsing or word processing, this laptop is more than ample and it'll get the job done. However, since this is a S mode version of Windows 10, you are limited to only having applications that are available within the Microsoft Store work on this laptop. Because this is primarily competing with the Chromebook, that makes total sense. One good thing is that Microsoft has given users the option to opt out of S mode, which is a one-way switch, so you can't go back to it, and then you can actually start using 32-bit applications on this machine. Let me put it another way. If you want to use Firefox or Google Chrome, you're gonna have to get rid of S mode. Otherwise, you're stuck with the beloved Microsoft Edge. That's right. Needless to say that this is not a gaming laptop, and obviously it's not designed for that use case. However, you can still download games from the Microsoft Store and play them as long as they are compatible with this laptop. Another cool thing I like about this laptop is that it's very conservative in terms of fan noise. Rarely do I ever see the fan go off. In fact, I've never seen the fan go in full motion. Compare this to the likes of the Dell XPS, the fan's always going off. The final thing I want to talk about before I move on to pricing and verdict is the battery life. As expected, the Surface Laptop Go has groundbreaking battery life. You easily get up to 13 hours on a single charge. In fact, when I first opened this laptop, it was at half battery, and it wasn't until about 7 hours in that I needed to charge the laptop. So this is definitely a great laptop from an efficiency point of view. Let's talk pricing. Starting with the base configuration, it starts at $550 USD. With that configuration, you get 4 gigabytes of RAM and you get a mere 64 gigabytes of SSD storage space. If you want to get the configuration we have over here, you have to dish out $700 USD, which gets you 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 GB SSD. Now, if you want to go for the highest end model, which basically offers you 256 GB of SSD storage, you have to opt out for $900 USD. No matter which one you get, you do get the same processor, however. If you are considering getting the Surface Laptop Go, at minimum, please get the 8 gigabyte model because the 4 gigabyte variant is just not enough. Despite the cheaper price, it doesn't justify the performance whatsoever. Windows is a much heavier operating system than the likes of Chromebook, and it requires more resources to run efficiently, and 8 gigabytes is the absolute minimum you need to have a smooth experience, in my honest opinion. Here's my unbiased verdict on the Surface Laptop Go. I think the Surface Laptop Go suffers from the same problem a lot of Microsoft Surface products do in general, which is an identity crisis. On one hand, you have this laptop trying to compete with the likes of Google's Chromebooks. On the other hand, it has a premium build like you'd find on a MacBook Air, for example. However, the pricing is somewhere in between and it's not competitive enough, in my opinion, to compete with Chromebooks in many instances. There are other Ultrabooks that actually offer better specification or similar specification at slightly lower prices, and they also perform better than the Surface Laptop Go because of specifications. However, I think the Surface Laptop Go is ideal for people who want the unfiltered, unbiased Microsoft experience. They'll definitely get that with the Surface Laptop Go, and that's who this laptop is intended for. If you guys would like to see a more comprehensive review of this device, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'd happy to produce that for you guys. As always, if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really does help me grow, keeps me motivated to provide more for you guys. Until next time, Soul of Tech, logging out.